The moment I realized my boss had tricked me, it was already too late to turn back. I was standing on the porch of a beautiful, warmly lit house, holding a bottle of wine I couldn't afford to buy twice, when she leaned closer and whispered with a nervous smile, "Please don't panic, but my parents think you're my boyfriend." My heart dropped so hard it felt like it echoed. If you've ever been pulled into someone else's lie and wondered whether to run or stay, don't blink, because what happened next changed my life in ways I never saw coming. I worked as a junior project coordinator, invisible in most meetings, the kind of employee who showed up early, left late, and still doubted his worth. My boss, Amelia Carter, was the opposite, sharp, confident, respected by everyone. She walked into rooms and people listened. To me, she was professional but distant, until the Friday afternoon she stopped by my desk and casually said, "I need a favor. Dinner tonight. My parents are in town. Just be yourself." I thought it was a harmless work thing, maybe networking. I even told myself this could be good for my career. I had no idea it would turn into the most terrifying and meaningful evening of my life. On the drive over, Amelia was quieter than usual. Her fingers tapped the steering wheel, her jaw tight. I joked to break the tension, but she didn't laugh. That's when she pulled over, took a deep breath, and told me the truth. She hadn't meant for it to go this far, she said. Her parents were traditional, demanding, and constantly disappointed that she had no one. In a moment of exhaustion, she'd mentioned me, her boyfriend from work. One lie turned into another, and now here we were. I wanted to say no. I wanted to open the door and walk away. But I saw fear in her eyes, not arrogance. So I nodded, even though my hands were shaking. Inside, her parents greeted us with smiles so warm it hurt. Her mother hugged me like she'd been waiting for me her whole life. Her father studied me quietly, the way men do when they're measuring you. Dinner was full of questions: how we met, what I did, where I came from. I answered honestly, careful not to contradict Amelia. She watched me with surprise, as if she hadn't expected me to handle it so well. And slowly, something strange happened. I stopped acting. I just talked. About my late mother, my father who worked himself into illness, my dreams I'd buried under responsibilities. The table grew quiet. Her mother reached for my hand. Her father nodded, approving. After dinner, Amelia and I stood on the balcony, the city lights stretching beneath us. She apologized again, voice breaking. She expected anger, maybe even humiliation. Instead, I told her the truth, that pretending had felt less lonely than I'd expected. That being seen, even by strangers, felt good. She laughed softly, then cried, then laughed again. For the first time, she wasn't my boss. She was just a woman tired of carrying everything alone. The next week at work was awkward. We went back to our roles, professional and distant. But something had shifted. She noticed when others interrupted me. She asked my opinion in meetings. One afternoon, she stopped by my desk and said, "Dinner again?" No lies this time. I said yes without thinking. Real life, however, doesn't move in straight lines. Office gossip started. A senior manager hinted that my recent recognition was personal. I was pulled aside and warned, kindly, but clearly, to keep things professional. Amelia was furious, ready to confront everyone. I asked her not to. I didn't want favors. I wanted respect. That night, we argued for the first time. She accused me of being afraid. I accused her of not understanding what it felt like to always be underestimated. We didn't speak for days. Then my father collapsed at work. Hospital bills piled up. I missed deadlines. Old insecurities rushed back. Amelia showed up at the hospital unannounced, sat beside me for hours, and said nothing until I was ready to talk. She didn't fix things. She didn't use her power. She just stayed. That's when I realized love isn't grand gestures, it's presence. When her parents visited again, she told them the truth. That our beginning was a lie, but what followed was real. I expected disappointment. Instead, her father shook my hand and said, "Sometimes the wrong start leads to the right place." A month later, I earned a promotion I'd worked years for, fairly, transparently. Amelia stepped back to avoid any doubt. I stepped forward, finally believing I deserved to be there. We didn't become perfect. We argued about work-life balance, about pride, about fear. But we learned. Together. And every time I think back to that night on the porch, heart pounding, bottle of wine sweating in my hand, I realize how close I came to walking away from everything that mattered. If this story touched you, if you've ever felt small, trapped in someone else's expectations, or afraid to step into an unexpected role, remember this: sometimes life disguises its biggest blessings as uncomfortable moments. Don't run too fast. And if you want more stories that remind you you're not alone, take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us. Your support helps these stories reach the people who need them most.